secrets is in the law books, and what ain't in the law books is in the history books before they took over the education. But we don't want to talk about that stuff because my professor said that these references are not acceptable in academia for my thesis. I don't care nothing about what your professor said. Tell him to go profess somewhere else. Because I'm going to tell you the facts. And the fact of the matter is, we got invaded by some people that look like us, that hid behind some people that didn't look like us, so that they can look like the bad guy, while the bad guy is hiding with his hands in his pockets until it's time for him to put on his black gloves. This is where we at. This is what we're dealing with. The only thing left for us to do is to tie in to the mother line, tie in to the matriarchal line of the mothers by having mothers of groups of tribes, big mamas and families just cordially meet each other. You connecting the energetic grid across the land, and nature gonna take care of the rest. You don't have to fight for nothing. It's already yours, and we already won. We'll fight for. We already did the fighting. That was what the Gullah Wars was. That was the blood and gore. Now it's about, are we capable of attending to our own affairs? Are we imbeciles in law, or are we the executive of our own estate? Are we our own estate rep and planner and protector and guardian? If you're not, go sit down somewhere. You're in the way. I don't care how intelligent you is. If you don't know what your family line's inheritance method of recovery is, you wasting your time trying to politic with these politicians that don't got no power. The real politicking is between the tribal mothers. And when enough of them have met, they all got a network, an energetic network. It'll just activate stuff for us. But we thinking that we got to go get guns. You can't fight these people with guns and bombs. They got too many of them. We're going to run out of bullets before they do. They make them.
Absolutely. Got to find a way around it.
We got to find a way around it. And the only way around it is to embrace our tribal traditions, because they gave it all back.
That's why I said we need to probably start having some events, saying who we are, saying where we have African festivals and African American festivals. We can have tribal festivals. We can do the same thing. We have to let people know we know who we are, and they'll start falling in.
Well,
start falling in.
I think that for our people, the fastest way is to have a national Mardi Gras. They will wake up in a heartbeat. It's already scheduled for 2025, for those who don't know.
Right. It's time. It is time.
It's a year-long national celebration. Trump called it the 250-year independence celebration. But it's only 250 years because they got an extension because of the 1812 war that took us to 1912, which means that from in 2012, to 2012, from 1812 to 2012, that's the extension that Elijah Muhammad told us the devil got an extension. The devil mean enemy, and stop thinking that it means some old horned dude that lived in a fiery pit at the bottom of the earth. That don't exist. It's them low vibrational entities that's tricking you to remain low vibrational. It's the devil, them the enemy. Devil mean adversary, opponent, the one that you are versed against. The George Washington challenge tell you it's two groups of people, and at the end of the 200 years, they don't know what side of the water they from. The most bloody and vile oath of the papacy told you they're going to kill the kings, the princes, the people of the land. Rothschild came out with the statement and said we got to treat them real bad, kill them, whatever we can do to them, and then miseducate them. So they all told us what they was doing and what they was going to do. We can take it for granted and believe that they didn't know what they was talking about, but they the ones been running, living high off our wealth. As long as they don't own it, they can use it. So they created all the trusts and foundations.
Right. I wanted to go back to what you said about the people, our enemies look like us, and then they hid behind the people that didn't look like them, and made it look like or seem like those are the people that were always controlling and running everything. Do you
Mhm.
think it's a detriment that so many of us believe that white supremacy is a real thing, and that we don't know about like our enemies looking like us, and you know, the
Yeah,
Europeans that look like us and all over the world, as far as all the people that are in control are not necessarily white, complexion wise?
well, they not the ones that. Well, you got to look. The Pope is the highest ranked paleface on the planet, and he kissed black people's boots. So you tell me what's going on.
Why do you think people are so confused and like get so apprehensive when you tell them white supremacy is not real?
Because they think that I mean that the oppression ain't real, that the military strategy to keep us suppressed and subjugated and the force involved that required them to use to keep us that way don't exist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the doctrine, it's a written doctrine, but it wasn't written by pale faces. And the pale faces was who they put in the institutions. You got to know what the institutions is: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, war, and health. All of those gateways of information was blocked by the brown paper bag club. The ones who's running it, the people who's enforcing the brown paper bag club that don't look like us, is answering to some people that make us look light-skinned at my complexion. It ain't no secret. The Pope is on video kissing some of them people's feet.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at them. They way darker than us. Most of us. And they the ones been pulling the Pope strings. Look, Elijah Muhammad told us about Yaqub grafted devil. He told us in the story that Yaqub wasn't going to see his devil manifest, so he left some niggas in charge. Now, let that simmer for a minute.
Well, I just want to make sure I made clear of something Dulcie just asked when she spoke about, or when she made the statement, excuse me, there was no white supremacy. I wanted to make sure that it was explained so it wouldn't be confusing to the mind or the ears of the people who is listening to that statement. And I at first was confused about it a bit until she explained it to me. But not only was it so-called, because what she's saying, there's no white people, so it can't be white supremacy if it's no white people. That, of course, that's a status. White is a status.
Yeah, it's actually classified in law as free white persons in law. Look at the definition in the 6th edition of the Black Law Dictionary. It'll tell you exactly who they is. And they tell you that they're not Caucasian. They tell you right in there.
But
it's not a secret.
Recognize them because that's the status that they're in. I know back my mom used to teach me about the free white people, the free people that was called white, the free, melanated people that were called white people. But I just thought maybe it needed to be explained so when somebody listened back at this video, they were able to understand. But at first I was getting from it that she was saying not only was it Caucasian people, it was several other types of people that was enslaving and disrespectful and treating us bad. That's what was taken from
it. That's a fact. What you just said is a fact. It was not just pale-faced people.
Right.
It was people that look like us.
Tipper Tib is a perfect example. He what you call a black Arab. And he was the largest slave trader on record.
Yes.
He wasn't the only one. But the whole thing being is he lived in Northern Africa, but the rest of the tribes of Africa, he ain't none of them. These people come from a nefarious place in the Middle East the Mount Sinai, or seeing AI, right? AI it's like it's like back then it wouldn't be pronounced AI, it would be AI, apostrophe A, and it's like saying the leader, the chief. In the Sinai, or the mountain of seeing, the leader seeing is where they get these doctrines that's controlling us, the blood magic, the sex magic, and the money magic. They discovered long time ago that if they abuse the children, it causes a defect to happen in the mother. All this is in Babylonian sex magic when they talk about the abuse of children. Parts of it is in the Mishnah and parts of it is in the Talmud. That's why they don't give it to Jewish converts. You can only get the Torah as a convert. Now with modern technology, we can access all of it. And when you read the Mishnah and the Torah, don't throw up. It's horrible. But it's a system. It was these people that's doing this stuff. They don't have no consciousness, no heart. They don't. Bobby Hemmett called them spirit artificial. He said they look like us, but they different kind of people. They was here from original creation as a defect. Wow. And they've been causing us problems the whole time.
I agree. Unidentified object, the undone. I agree. Sure. But it makes us look even worse when we are just treating our own people as bad as we say that the enemy has treated us. Now that's bad. But I see that there are some people in the chat that agrees that we have to start having events and situations and have speakers come and just make it a whole, the same way we do other things and make it a day. You know what I mean? So you can find your roots here and know who you are, and that you were not only kings and queens just on Africa, you also was chiefs and big mamas and things of that nature, which just means probably the same thing over here.
Look, we use modern English, but in our language, the all chief meant is an elder of the village. And the big mama is she's the one runs the house, because the men is responsible for roaming the land, investigating the land, and bringing home the food. And then the mothers was dealing with the politics. This is where in the paleface community, they had the bridge clubs, because in the bridge clubs, they could invite women from different backgrounds, and they can get up there and they can strategize on how to work together, because they all seen patriarchy as the enemy's main tool to use. White supremacy is just a military application of a patriarchal agenda. And those who wrote it, like I said, they wrote it as the protocols of Zion, because they have to give us an opportunity to discover what they're doing. They wrote it as the morals and dogma Albert Pike, and I believe Albert Pike is a fictitious character, just like I believe Adam Weishaupt is a fictitious character. And they had 3 George Washingtons, and I'm thinking that 2 of them was the fictitious character George Washington, because the real George Washington from Barbados, they don't never talk about that fact. That means he was a Washita, not a Washington. Washington is the English rendition of Washita. So when you start doing all of the research, okay, which one was this sucker born in? Was he born in Virginia? Was he born in France? Or was he born in Barbados? When you start asking that question, now you start running to different historical narratives about this character they call him George Washington. I think he all made up. Same with Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln was called in swarthy, easily confused with the Negroes in the area. This is what I didn't write that. They wrote that about him. See, what people be having the tendency to think when I tell them stuff that this is directly, I'm telling you what they said. They confessed. I'm showing you where it's at. And then people still get mad because At this point, they not mad because they got tricked no more. They mad because out of all of the 8.4 billion people on Earth, that I had to be the one to come along and tell them they got tricked, and I'm not smarter than them. So now they offended. So now they got to try to come out with all kind of misleading information and academic scholars that was Freemasons that they don't want to talk about, slave narratives in perfect poetic king and queen's English or perfect Arabic, perfect Spanish, but they supposed to not know how to read and write. And it was against the law to teach them, but they coming over here writing these stories. Where they getting them from? Literacy is not as common as people think it is. The whole literacy program is barely 100 years old, where you start really teaching people. You know how few and far it was to go to school in the 1800s? For every child that went to school, it was about 10,000 that didn't.
And also to that point, right? Like with what's taught in schools, and when people say, "Oh, show me what the book say,"
get my tea, guys.
Okay, show me what the book say. Show me what whatever say. First of all, our history, we didn't do things by writing shit down. It was passed down mouth to mouth. It was passed down orally. Our traditions was passed down orally. Our secrets, our knowledge was passed down orally. Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
we still have written documents. Our documents that we had written, which was all oral tradition given to the clans, but they would write it down. Even once they started learning different languages, they was writing them in English and Spanish. But they all of the records from the time the settlers came that we was keeping, that they didn't burn up in the courthouse burnings. Those records those are in national parks and caves.
Yeah, but I'm talking about pre-settlers, right? I'm talking about before that even happened, right? Mm-hmm. So I know, as we say, right, like my grandmothers, you know, everything that they taught me. I didn't go. She didn't show me it in a book. She taught me that through her mouth. Those were oral things that she passed down to me. You understand? So let me ask a question though, because so I noticed that, and this is for the larger conversation, but I noticed that anytime we're talking about American history, Barbados is always mentioned. There's many islands in the Caribbean, but Barbados is always mentioned. Can you speak to why that is?
First, you got to look at the symbols. First, right now, Barbados is coming up a lot. Look at their flag and look at the Ukraine flag. Is there any way you could pull them two flags up just to show?
And my on my maternal side, I know why. I know a few reasons why, but my my grandmother was born there. So hold on. Want me to pull up the Bayesian flag and the
Barbados flag and the Ukraine flag?
Dulcia, you gonna be able to share it? Are you on your computer? Because Freedom stepped away to get tea.
Yes, I can share it.
Okay.
All of the islands was the gateways that they used, because they figured if they conquer the islands first, that the mainland will be easier. And Barbados, like Jamaica and Haiti, was rebellious to the settlers from the day they got there. But the symbols tell you a lot. When you look at the flag, where is a similar flag? You'll know who's being exposed at the law of the flag.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna share it now.
That's going on in the Middle East today, right? So we looking at it from multiple angles, but we don't know what we're looking at because we've been taught to disassociate from everything and to only focus on what the colonizer told us to focus on. But it's just playing a big old cyclic storyline in varying different parts of society in order that somebody figure out who's behind it and what they're doing. And they cleared out most of the tunnels in Switzerland now. So there's a couple billion people from Europe that ain't there no more. Where they put them, I don't know, because I don't know what they did with all them bodies. But they ain't supposed to kill them here, so I'm believing they ushered them through a Stargate somewhere.
Wow. You just taught me something new, because I did not even think about, you know, when you said pull up the flag and the similarities between the two.